Arrow Season 4, Episode 2, The Candidate. Now, this episode was actually really cool because not only did we get a pretty awesome reveal at the end with Oliver saying he'd run for mayor, and the main focus basically being him trying to stop the ghost, or specifically one character, from killing an old friend of his and Thea's, but this episode introduced a lot of cool stuff that's going to affect both Arrow and Flash in the future, because not only did we get the introduction of a new villain who's Anarchy, which was really awesome, and I'll get to just the insane awesome stuff he's done in this episode, but we also got full-on crazy Thea just like losing her mind. We even had a fight between Thea and Oliver, which was really awesome. And then that leads to Laurel finding out about the League of Assassins and how the Lazarus Pit is what actually helped Thea come back to life. And that leads her to dig up Sarah, and that's going to get us Sarah back. So it was cool to see how that took place, because, you know, if you don't already know this, which I don't know how you wouldn't have heard, but we're getting a show in between the mid-season finale and the mid-season premiere, I guess. I think it'll be probably in like December and stuff. We're getting Legends of Tomorrow, so it's going to be a couple of characters. I won't say who for anyone who doesn't know, because it would definitely spoil some stuff if you haven't heard. But Sarah's going to be one of those characters, which I can say because of this episode, of course. And it was cool to see that introduction, because I didn't realize that Laurel didn't know about the Lazarus Pit. And so I'm really excited to see that come into play and how they're going to deal with that, because that brings in some other characters. That's how we're going to get Constantine, and that's basically what's going to lead into the Legends of Tomorrow, which is just really cool. So it was great to have that introduction of how Laurel came up with that idea to bring her sister back. So it should be fairly exciting. I don't think it'll happen too soon, but we might have to wait at least 2 episodes, I would assume. That I'm sure it won't be the very next episode, but it might be the one afterwards where they get to Nanda Parbat. But I'm looking forward to it. It was really cool to get that introduction, and it's supposed to happen sort of, I believe it's like 7 or 8 episodes in, so we aren't going to get like Constantine too soon, but I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be really awesome. And of course they're going to have to do some stuff, because they've already explained in this universe that the Lazarus Pit can't bring people back to life if they're like full on dead, and that's why Thea was able to be okay. Like, she was almost dead, but it healed her and it just took a bit. And I don't know if it's that way in the comic book universe. I'm pretty sure you could be like full on dead. It would just take much longer, and it could just completely bring you back. But I could easily be wrong on that. But I'm excited to see them do that, and they've introduced it just in the 2nd episode, so it doesn't mean we have to wait till like the end of the season just to see Sarah come back. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be really cool. We have Anarchy, he was super awesome in this episode, and I've only seen him in like 2 other things, really. And it's another funny thing, it's just like the League of Assassins, Anarchy, I full on tie to Batman. Like, I don't think I've ever heard of Anarchy doing anything involving any other superhero. So it's kind of funny. It's just like, you know, the League of Assassins, I always tie that to Batman, which the League of Assassins affects a billion different people in the DC universe, because it's huge. It's the League of Assassins, but it's always tied to Batman, because he's always fighting Ra's al Ghul. He has this relationship with Talia al Ghul. He even has a son by her. So it's always tied to Batman, and that's why, you know, the Arrow Batman thing was like really brought up last season. And they did it again, very minor, because it's just one of the villains. And Anarchy isn't like the biggest villain ever anyway from Batman, but he was super cool in this episode. I mean, he was smart enough to like sneak and get on the detail of the woman. He had, you know, I don't know where he got like the cattle prod, is basically like a super strong cattle prod. And so he's like taking people out with that. He knew how to fight against Oliver. Like, he was doing moves and stuff. I was like, oh, I didn't know he could do that. And so, you know, different version of him, but that was awesome. And then he had like a freaking, I don't know where he got these insane martial arts skills, but he has like the triple nunchuck bow staff thing going. And I thought he just pulled out another staff. I thought he just had 2 and he was spinning them and stuff. And then I realized he had a 3rd stick in the middle. I was like, he has the triple nunchuck thing, which you never see on television. I honestly think that's the first time I've ever seen that on American television, where someone had one of the like bow staff separating things. So that was really awesome to see. And he's just flipping it and spinning it and fighting against Oliver. Takes him down. He's dealing with Thea as well. and he was just an awesome villain who, he calls it Anarchy. That's his name. He was really fun to see. I believe the promo for this episode, they teased that it was Anarchy, or maybe it was just a trailer I saw before the season started, but I figured that he was Anarchy because I'm like, I know I've heard it in some trailer, and it probably was just the promo for this episode, but I like this character. I thought it was really well done. He seems way more capable than I've seen him before. Like, he was always a supervillain, the Batman, though, so he was able to do some crazy stuff, so it wasn't exactly too surprising. It's just like he has these skills and he can get on people's details and he has all these martial arts skills and stuff. He was even wounded and on fire and he still managed to get out of that, like, all right, let me kill the paramedics in here and then make my escape. So I definitely can't wait for that guy to come back. I don't know in what regard he's going to come back, but we have Anarchy and it was really fun. We have, Oliver at the end of this episode after all the madness with the ghosts and his former friend having her daughter kidnapped and her resigning, like, I'm not going to lose my daughter over this. He decides to run for mayor, which I thought was insanely sweet. Like, it was very surprising, but that was super fun to hear him say that. Like, okay, he's going to do that. He's going to run for mayor. I'm pretty sure he's going to become mayor because no one else is running. He's not going to get scared off because he can take care of himself. So I can't wait for that to happen. And I just realized that that's going to lead to whoever died. That just popped into my head. Him running for mayor is going to lead to whoever died in the ending scene of the last episode. So that's why they came after him, because he's going to run and he's probably going to be mayor, and they're going to be like, all right, well, because he's mayor, now they'll easily be able to see who goes to his office, who goes to see him, and that's where they get their target. So that kind of just dawned on me. Like, I think he's going to become mayor, and that's how they're going to know who to go after. But it was cool to hear him say that. And, it'll be interesting watching every decision these characters make, because we know that it's going to lead to somebody dying. We don't know who, but we know that every single decision that everyone makes on this team is going to have some effect on who lives and who dies it's either going to be the mid-season finale or the end of the season. But I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to watch these really big decisions. But he decides to run for mayor, which is really cool. We have the flashbacks were pretty interesting in this. We didn't get really any info. It's like some random people were put on the island and he infiltrated, and they're picking what I'm just going to assume is opium just because it was random flowers. I don't even know. It was just we met the one guy who was like, well, my buddy, someone that worked for me died. You can take his place since you've survived on the island for so long. And that's really it. And we got him looking like he does now. That was probably the biggest thing. He actually cut his hair, and now he officially looks like he does currently. And I was kind of waiting for when that was going to happen. When does he cut his hair and look in the flashbacks like he does right now? And now we have it. So that was an interesting transition. It's not the biggest thing ever. It's he doesn't have the long hair, but it will be weird watching the flashbacks now, and he has the same hairstyle, because I was so used to flashbacks, and it's young, younger Oliver. It's not he was really young, but younger Oliver with the longer hair and stuff, and it's now he's gonna look the same in the present and in the flashback. So that was just something worth noting for sure, because it's different. We've seen him running around with long hair for 3 years now in the flashbacks, so it was pretty interesting. It was kind of surprising to see that happen, but really nothing took place in the flashbacks. He got in, he fought the one dude, he killed the guy, pushed him into a minefield. I thought I wasn't sure what happened there. I guess I missed a sign or something. And I was I didn't see him pull a grenade, but I was he must have pulled a grenade before he pushed the guy. I was that was the only thing that made sense until the next scene, and they mentioned it was a landmine. I was oh, okay. I totally missed that. But flashbacks seem like they're leading to something pretty cool. I mean, it's just this random army on the island, which needs to be infiltrated by Argus for whatever reason. It's probably just a simple military thing, and they're selling drugs or weapons, or drugs and weapons. That's all it ever is. Actually, I just thought about it. That's how we learn the mystical stuff. So it's got to be something cooler than it's probably going to be mystical stuff on the island, and that's how you learn that, because that's why it ties in. I kind of forget stuff until I'm just randomly speaking, but I guess that's what it's going to be. It's going to be something mystical, and that's why Argus had to look into it. It probably still involves both guns and drugs, though, because everything just does in this show. It's like guns or drugs, or guns and drugs, or something more than guns, which just means explosives. So that's just what the show has been, and this will just add in magic, so that's fine, because it's going to be pretty fun to see. But I like this episode. The fight between Oliver and Thea was really fun to watch because Thea just going crazy was just cool to watch. Like, we saw it happen. We knew she was going crazy. And then in this episode, when she's interrogating the guy, of course he's, stalling and stuff. She's like, you want to keep using your arm. And I think she broke his arm right after she said that. She didn't even wait for a response. It was just like, all right, screw this. Boom. And his arm is broken. And Oliver had to tell her to leave. And I was like, that was a really good scene because he was involved, but he didn't exactly stop her. And it was like, he doesn't know. He was in a weird mindset where it's like, I'm pretty sure she's going to just break his arm, even though it's uncalled for. But I kind of have to give my sister the benefit of the doubt a little bit. And he kind of made the wrong choice, and the guy got his arm broken. He obviously sells drugs, so he's a drug dealer, and I don't care. But, she went over the top, and she definitely didn't need to. And it was awesome watching them fight. And who knows how they're going to fix Thea, honestly. They're going to Malcolm, and that should be fun because we're going to get to see, the League of Assassins again. Malcolm is Ra's al Ghul. We're going to see Nyssa come back into things, and who knows how that's going to play out. But I'm looking forward to it. And of course, if Laurel brings Sarah's body there, Nyssa is going to want to bring her back to life. But at the same time, she's going to know, look at Thea. She almost died. And then you bring in Sarah back, who's just been dead for months now. That could be a million times worse. So I'm kind of interested in the dialogue for, what the characters are going to say to each other once they get there. But I like this episode. Glad to see Anarchy. He was fairly insane. We got another crazy scene, and this is just something that I'm just trying to figure out with Lance and Damien. I don't understand what's happening. I just want an answer as to how he got in touch with Damien Dark and how he's involved with Hive now, because unless he's under some sort of mind control, which I've seen thanks to Teen Titans, which I'm going to mention Teen Titans a million times this season, but that's all I know Hive from is Teen Titans, honestly. So I know that mind control is kind of a thing. That was typically from Brother Blood, and we kind of got that actually. But I know that they can do that. It's sort of a thing. He could easily be under control. Damien's doing mystical stuff. He's got the telekinesis thing he did last time. Whatever the Shang Tsung type soul sucking thing he does, which is actually kind of cool. He has that, and I'm sure he has some other powers. So it could be some form of mind control, but he makes Lance think that he's still in control and made the choice to team up with him. Or Lance chose to team up with him, which is just insane. So I want this answer because all I think of is Lance is the one guy who's 100%, he's the cop. He was 100% justice. That's all there is to it, except for Oliver. He's pretty, full of justice for everybody. And so it's just how in the world did he meet this guy? Was it before the ghost stuff happened? Was it after it happened? Is it mind control? Did he just make a bad decision? It's very confusing trying to figure out how this character, who always seems to be the virtue guy, or at least the justice guy, I wouldn't exactly say 100% virtue, but, the guy who's always just justice the right way, how does this work? How in the world does he team up with Damien Dark? But either way, that's just going to bug me until they flat out give us an answer. I hope we get a flashback as to how they first met and everything, because I'd rather see it that way compared to just this is how we met through dialogue. I'd love to actually see a full-on flashback. This is exactly where the city was right after Felicity and Oliver left, and we get to see Diggle, Thea, and Laurel, when they first team up and stuff, and they're first doing things by themselves, and whatever Lance ends up doing, how he meets Damien Dark. But I like this episode. Some great introductions. Crazy, interesting decisions made by Oliver, which is probably going to be, it's probably the first big step leading to whoever is in that grave being put in that grave. But we got a new villain. We got, Laurel digging up her sister, which was kind of gross. I wasn't sure they were going to show it, but they actually showed the fake sort of model that they made of the actress. I was like, that's kind of gross actually, but I kind of like that they did that. It's just a nice little touch. But we have that leading into Legends of Tomorrow and stuff, and then we're gonna get Nanda Parbat and Malcolm and Nissa, and then we have the stuff with the Captain and Damien, and I'm just looking forward to this season. I'm actually pretty excited. Flashbacks, I'm assuming you're gonna be mystical, hopefully very soon, because right now it seriously is just some random people picking flowers seemingly, and it's just an army being evil towards them. So hopefully it gets more entertaining very soon, and I'm sure it will. But I want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, least favorite parts. And I want to know what you guys think about Oliver running for mayor, because I did not see that one coming. It kind of blew my mind. I was totally surprised by that, but I thought it was really cool. And I definitely want to know what you guys thought about it. I just realized I totally skipped over all of Felicity stuff in this episode, it was actually really good. The guy that she ends up saving like towards the end, I can't remember who he is in the comics, but he's like one of the smartest people in the DC universe in the comic books. So he's gonna find something. Something's gonna happen. That might even lead to how they find Ray and bring him back to normal size. Because I know he's alive in there somewhere. Maybe he's shrunken and he's just stuck tiny. I don't know, but maybe that's how we end up with Ray again. And they actually give us the Atom for real this time. So I'm looking forward to that. It was pretty cool. It was very interesting to watch Felicity have to go in, and then it's like, oh, we're firing people. And then the scene where he gets fired, that kind of messed with me mentally, because I'm like, holy crap, he invented this algorithm, and he causes himself to get fired. I was like, that has to mess with your head, where you made the algorithm. And of course he did it to just change things up a little bit and get people more money. He didn't do it to get people fired. But, it was kind of his idea, and he was the one who was able to do it and change it around. And then it got him fired. It's like, that seriously just has to mess with your own head. Like, I made this thing, and it picked me. Like, probably should have done a little cheating and saved myself. But that's not the type of character he is. So that was just something like, holy crap. But just to throw that in there at the end, because I totally skipped over Felicity, and I did not mean to. But like I said, I want to know what you guys think of Oliver deciding he's going to run for mayor and about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.